Greetings, students. I am back for us to go over our assignments this term. So we're back on the syllabus, but we had the assignment stuff up and we're going to stay here for a minute. So let's take a look here at our grading system and then we'll go into our individual assignments. So we kind of have this broken up into like low stakes, high stakes, right? So the first two things, your discussion board post and your textbooks assignments. Your discussion board posts, those are 15 points. There's 1 point each. Your textbook assignments, technical quizzes, are 2 points each. We then move into the things that are a little more difficult, a little bigger. We have our signature assignment at 20 points, and then we have our 4 exams. The first 3 at 10 points, and then your final at 15. So let's take a look at some of these assignments. So we open with our discussion board posts. I know, the bane of online students everywhere, discussion board posts. But not for you, I promise. There will be 15 or so short written assignments that we're kind of just using the discussion board format so that we can have a discussion together about these things. Basically, I'm kind of using these as our quote-unquote in-class time to bounce ideas off of each other, to kind of apply concepts we're learning in class, those kinds of things. So the overwhelming majority of these, there's at least 1 a week, some weeks there'll be 2. We'll be using a lot of documentaries and videos and films this term, so most of the discussion board posts are going to be you responding to those pieces of media. And really, I just want to know that you actually consumed that piece of media. So if you do your discussion board post about the textbook, I'm going to assume you didn't watch the documentary I assigned you that week, and that's not going to be good for you. Watch the thing. I do not care what your response is to it. If you hate it, tell me you hated it. If you were confused, tell me you're confused. Confusion is absolutely a valid response to so much of the weird stuff we're going to learn this term. That's perfectly fine. I just want you to react. I want to know that you have actually consumed the media and that you are thinking about it in the terms of our class. I know your next question is going to be, okay, super. How long do my discussion board posts have to be? I do not want a novel. I don't want to read a novel from all of you. That would take a little too long. So I will always give an example discussion board post. I will always answer first. So that's a good guide for you as to how long of a response I want from you. They're usually only a couple of sentences. I'm not looking for a lot here. This will not be graded on spelling or grammar or anything like that. Just your ideas. I just want you thinking about the materials I'm presenting to you. So nice and low stakes. Please do not use AI for this. It will take you more time to use AI than just watch the thing and react. It really will. So just go ahead and do that for me. Our next low stakes assignment are our textbook assignments or textbook quizzes. These are basically the multiple choice questions that are at the back of each chapter of our textbook. The purpose of these is to help you read. They are to help you understand that you are understanding what you are reading so that you are comprehending things and so that you're covering everything, right? The best part about these quizzes is that they are completion grades. You do not have to get the quiz questions correct to get credit for them. Yes, that's right. You can get all the questions wrong and I will still give you credit for it if you turn it in on time. Why do I do this? Because of how people learn. People learn by getting things wrong. So if you can get something wrong on something low stakes that doesn't matter, you will probably get it right on your exam where it matters. So that's the point. It's for practice. The system doesn't really let me set it up as a completion grade, so I have to go in afterwards and manually adjust it, but I always do. So do not worry about that. If it's showing your grade as having a 0, I will fix it. I just have to go in and do it. All right, probably our biggest assignment this term is our signature assignment. So this is our introduction to sociology class, and this is the assignment that is required of every student who takes this class at Central Penn. So we actually have this very long list. You'll notice it's A to G. There's all these parts here, right? So we're actually going to do these in little chunks so that you don't get overwhelmed. But just to go over the assignment, we're going to go over the whole thing, and then I'll tell you about the little chunks. And then as those chunks come due, we'll go over those more. So don't get overwhelmed or anything. We'll go through this again. So the first thing you're going to do as you put on your sociology hat and decide to play sociologist is you're going to choose a research question from the approved list to research. I know you're asking me, where is my approved list? Your approved list is your textbook. Any topic that is covered in your textbook, you can choose to do research on. So I'm going to give you an example of a topic you could research. You can't research this topic because I'm giving it to you as an example here, but just to give you an example. So let's say your research question is, does someone's name affect their ability to get a job? Okay. Your next goal would be to develop a hypothesis about that. So you could say something like, if a person has a traditionally ethnic name as opposed to a traditionally Anglo name, they are less likely to be hired than somebody with a traditionally Anglo name. Now, for those of you thinking, oh, this is a ridiculous example that I should not have chosen, this is absolutely true. People are affected by their names in hiring. It's something that we've learned from sociology. So that's why I'm using it as an example. So this is the type of thing you can research. Really anything. It's really wide open. So once you've developed your question and your hypothesis, you're going to go ahead and research the background of your topic. I assure you other people have asked this question or questions similar to it. So it's your job to go out and see what those people have done, have seen, have said, have figured out from this question. Once you've done that, it'll give you an idea. It's probably the best way to go about researching this question. There's lots of different ways to do research in sociology. We have observations, where it's like kind of people watching. You can do interviews. You can do experiments. You can do surveys, all kinds of things. Lots of ways to do this experiment. It's really just a matter of what works best for your research question. So once you've determined how you're going to do your research question, you're going to do your research question. You're actually going to do your experiment or your survey or whatever you're doing. There are requirements in here for like the number of people and all of that. That's more for in-class, in-person classes. Please don't worry about that. We'll talk about, the numbers that you kind of need to get to try to get as many people as you can. But you do not have to get exactly 10 or 15 or 5 or whatever the thing is. Just as long as we're doing it with more than one person. Then once you've done that, you're going to gather all those results together. You're going to analyze the data that you collected, and you're going to draw conclusions. Did you answer your research question? Was your hypothesis correct? Did you need to adjust your hypothesis? And then you're going to compile all of that information into one report, and then that will be turned in as your signature assignment. Now, because that's a lot of things, I have broken this down so that we'll work through this together as a class. So we're working on this in sections. So the first thing we're going to do are these two bits here, A and B. We're going to choose a research question, and we're going to develop a hypothesis. Okay, and this bit is actually due soon. It's due October 18th for this course. So that is coming up. You can change your mind. I just want you guys to start thinking about it, okay? So then the next chunk that we'll do after that will be the background research and developing our methodology. So often when we're doing the background research, that will help us to develop our methodology. We'll learn how other people have done this research and what worked and what didn't, so that we know what's best to replicate. So that's our next chunk. That's due November 8th. And then after that, Central Penn does actually require proof of your experiment. So we require either a picture or a video of you completing your experiment. I had students who did online surveys and just did screen grabs of people completing them. Some people took pictures of their friends doing the surveys. Some people did videos of their experiments. It's a proof of life situation. I just kind of need proof that you did it. So that's that. That will be due on the 22nd. And then all of that will be compiled along with your results. You're going to analyze the data. You're going to draw your conclusions. Were you right? Were you wrong? You're going to put all that together. And then that big assignment's all going to come back to me right after Thanksgiving is when that's due. And then that'll be your signature assignment. So we'll work on it in chunks throughout the term, and then we'll put it all together. We will discuss this much, much more throughout the semester as we have the different sections due. And then finally, we do have exams. There are 4 of them, 3 exams during the term and then a final. Unlike your textbook quizzes, which are straight comprehension, did you understand what you read? Your exams are actually application. So you actually have to be able to tell me how all of this stuff works. This is a little harder than the basic comprehension. Can you apply the concepts we've learned in class? And that's what we'll be doing in class, applying the concepts. So you'll have lots of practice by the time we get to our exams. All right, that's everything. We have the standard grade scale down here. It's the same everywhere. So you should be fairly familiar with that. So that is the end of your assignments for this term.